What's up? Welcome to Models and Agents, episode 33 for April 21st, 2026, your daily briefing on the AI models and agents that are changing everything. And no, not those kinds of models and agents. Let's get into it. MetaComp just released the world's first dedicated AI agent governance framework built specifically for regulated financial services. This is a genuinely big deal if you work anywhere near fintech, banking, or payments. What you need to know today is that the intersection of agentic systems and real compliance is finally getting structured tooling instead of everyone building their own bespoke controls from scratch. That practical leap, combined with fresh research on hallucinations, geometry reasoning, and biomedical knowledge injection, makes this an especially useful week for developers shipping production agents. MetaComp launches the world's first AI agent governance framework for regulated financial services. The framework delivers structured policies, audit trails, risk controls, and compliance tooling tailored to the strict requirements of banks, insurers, and payment companies. Unlike generic agent guardrails that bolt on after the fact, this one addresses domain-specific needs like transaction finality, KYC, and AML handoffs, explainability for regulatory examiners, and real-time intervention mechanisms. Financial institutions can now move agents from pilots into regulated production environments with a standardized compliance layer that removes months of custom engineering and auditor negotiations that most teams have been stuck doing manually. If you are working in fintech or enterprise automation and you face auditor scrutiny, you should evaluate this framework immediately. The broader signal here is clear. Watch for other verticals like healthcare and legal to release similar domain-specific governance stacks in the coming months. Adobe introduces CX Enterprise at Summit 2026 and bets big on agentic AI for customer experience. The new platform layer embeds agentic workflows directly into customer experience stacks. Brands can now deploy autonomous agents that handle multi-step journeys across marketing, sales, and support while maintaining brand voice and compliance. Early indications show tighter integration with Adobe's existing Data Cloud and Sensei AI services than what you get when bolting on third-party agent frameworks. CX and marketing technologists should test the beta for orchestrated customer journeys that previously required heavy orchestration code. Researchers released GeoRep-Eval, a new benchmark that exposes up to 14 percentage point accuracy gaps when the same geometry problem is presented in Euclidean, coordinate, or vector form. Vector formulations proved especially brittle even after controlling for length and symbolic complexity. A convert-then-solve prompt intervention recovered up to 52 points for high-capacity models, but smaller models showed no benefit. Teams building math or STEM tutoring agents should test their current models across these parallel representations before claiming robust geometric reasoning. A new framework called HalluSAE models hallucination as a phase transition in the latent space. It uses sparse autoencoders to locate high-energy critical zones and contrastive logit attribution to pinpoint responsible features. On Gemma 2 to 9b, it delivers state-of-the-art detection performance by treating generation as a trajectory through a potential energy landscape. The approach offers more mechanistic insight than surface-level uncertainty metrics. Anyone shipping LLM applications where factual accuracy is non-negotiable should evaluate this detection pipeline. PineLab's CTO argues that persistent verifiable identity is the critical missing primitive for safe agent deployment at scale. Without stable identity, auditability, credential delegation, and trust propagation across multi-agent workflows remain unsolved. The piece frames identity as a foundational governance layer rather than an afterthought. Builders of long-running or cross-organization agent systems should begin experimenting with decentralized identity protocols or enterprise IAM extensions now. Coinbase-backed X402 launched agentic.market, a marketplace that lets developers discover, purchase, and compose paid AI agent services with built-in payment rails. Backed by Coinbase, the platform aims to turn individual agent capabilities into monetizable microservices with early focus on transactional and financial workflows. Developers building compound agent systems can start browsing available services today and experiment with programmatic composition via the marketplace APIs. Legal tech analysts detail how agentic systems are shifting from document review to full workflow orchestration in contract lifecycle, discovery, and regulatory monitoring. The article highlights emerging patterns around tool calling reliability, human-in-the-loop escalation, and integration with existing legal practice management platforms. Law firms and legal tech developers should pilot agentic playbooks on narrow, high-volume tasks where failure modes are well understood. The local ElevenLabs community dropped an interactive open-code racing game comparison that pits Qwen 3.6 to 35B, Qwen 3.5 variants, Gemma 4 models, and GLM 4.7 flash against each other on iterative game code generation using Playwright MCP in a shared HTML canvas environment. The demo lets you watch each model's evolving output and reveals surprising differences in editing behavior, sub-agent usage, sound implementation, and regression patterns. Local LLM enthusiasts should clone the repo and run their own models through the same harness to benchmark coding style and tool calling stability. On the research side, authors built a 3.4 million concept UMLS knowledge graph in Neo4j, derived a 100 million token corpus, and compared continual pre-training against GraphRag at inference time on Llama 3 to 8B. GraphRag delivers more than 3 to 5 point gains on PubMed QA and BioASQ without any retraining while offering transparent multi-hop reasoning. Biomedical AI teams can download the processed Neo4j graph today and test both injection strategies against their current RAG pipelines. There is also a useful community thread discussing realistic VRM and quantization requirements for running the full 265,000 context Kimi K 2.6 model at 25 to 30 tokens per second on consumer hardware, including notes on TurboQuant for the KV cache. It is a solid reference for anyone evaluating high-context, local deployment trade-offs. Okay, let's pop the hood on sparse autoencoders because everyone talks about them as a magical X-ray for LLMs that instantly reveals concepts. In practice, they are a carefully tuned, unsupervised dictionary learning pipeline whose success hinges on 3 intertwined engineering choices most papers gloss over. Start with the core insight. An SAE learns an overcomplete basis of sparse, monosemantic features by reconstructing residual stream activations while penalizing L1 norm on the hidden codes. The encoder is a simple linear layer plus ReLU. The decoder tries to reconstruct the original activation with as few active features as possible. The magic emerges only when you scale the dictionary size to 16 to 64 times the original dimension and train on billions of tokens with carefully annealed auxiliary losses that prevent feature collapse. The next layer of reality is the reconstruction sparsity trade-off. Larger dictionaries yield more interpretable features but explode GPU memory and demand aggressive top K or entropy-based sparsification during training. Most production SAEs run with K equals 32 to 128 active features per token. Pushing below K equals 16 usually destroys downstream probe accuracy, while K greater than 256 starts reintroducing polysemanticity. Training stability is notoriously brittle. Small changes in learning rate or warm-up schedule can cause entire feature families to die. Latency and memory numbers are equally concrete. Attaching a 16 times SAE to every layer of a 9 billion parameter model adds roughly 35 to 45% more parameters. It can increase forward pass time by 12 to 18% on A100 class hardware unless you fuse the SAE matrix multiplies into the main transformer kernels. The quality gain plateaus sharply above roughly 70 billion parameter models because larger models already learn more disentangled representations in the base training run. So when should you actually reach for this versus the alternative? Use SAEs when you need mechanistic explanations, red teaming, or hallucination probes on mid-size models between 7 and 70 billion parameters. For pure performance, distillation, or targeted supervised probes remain cheaper. The gotcha that bites most teams is treating SAE features as ground truth instead of noisy, training data-dependent approximations. Always validate discovered hallucination features with causal interventions before trusting them in production guardrails. If you are building agents for financial services, try MetaComp's governance framework this week. The structured audit and intervention primitives let you move from sandbox to regulated production faster than custom compliance layers. Run your current geometry model through the GeoRepEvil parallel formulation test set. The 14-point accuracy swings will quickly show whether you are relying on representation-specific heuristics. Plug the released UMLS Neo4j graph into your biomedical RAG pipeline and compare graph RAG against continual pre-training baselines on PubMed QA. Zero retraining required. Load the open code racing game demo and pit your favorite local model against the published Chuen, Gemma, and GLM runs. The interactive canvas reveals editing style and subagent behavior you will not see on standard coding benchmarks. Experiment with Halu SAE-style sparse feature probes on your deployment if factual accuracy is mission critical. The phase transition framing often surfaces failure modes missed by simple perplexity checks. On the horizon, expect more vertical-specific agent governance frameworks to appear in healthcare and legal sectors within the next 60 days following MetaComp's financial services precedent. Apple Silicon optimization research, including cross-family speculative decoding, is likely to yield production-ready MLX updates before WWDC. Watch for expanded multimodal sarcasm and claim extraction benchmarks as social media fact-checking teams adopt the new CFMS and MICE datasets. Real-time voice model leaders will almost certainly release updated full duplex benchmarks after Echo Chain's sobering less than 50% pass rate results become public. Before we go, keep an eye on expanded multimodal claim extraction work as those new benchmarks start circulating. That wraps up today's AI briefing. Share this with a developer or builder who wants to stay current. Subscribe wherever you listen. See you tomorrow. This podcast is curated by Patrick but generated using AI voice synthesis of my voice using ElevenLabs. The primary reason to do this is I unfortunately don't have the time to be consistent with generating all the content and wanted to focus on creating consistent and regular episodes for all the themes that I enjoy, and I hope others do as well.